Honorable Professor Oduol Odhiambo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute.
And I think record should be a little clear to, there's a name which is associated with you more. So Jacqueline should be on record. So proceed anyway, Professor.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think that indeed is true. But in the interest of supporting the African culture, if the other names appear, Mr. Speaker, we would be happy to work with them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to take the opportunity to contribute and support the amendment of Land Act 2012 and to thank the honorable member for drawing attention to this extremely important area. Honorable Speaker, as I support the proposed amendment, I want, Mr. Speaker, to recognize that we are operating in the country, Honorable Speaker, where land issues are extremely complicated, and in a number of cases, we find, Honorable Speaker, that not only do we have a situation where land location and management falls into extremely difficult challenges. I support this amendment, Honorable Speaker, particularly because as we look at the way that we settle disputes or seek to ensure that land such as what is already allocated for public utilities does not fall into hands of those who would seek to abuse and indeed to shortchange the citizenry and those who are relying, Honorable Speaker, on the government and on those who are in charge to protect them. I particularly, Honorable Speaker, would like to support this Amendment Act because, as has been indicated by other honorable members, land issues are not only emotive, Honorable Speakers. Whenever we have any dispute such as would arise in the absence of this kind of legal specification, we find that people, citizens, are at the mercy, sometimes, Honorable Speaker, of the court, other times, Honorable Speaker, of titles, as we are talking about here, and in a number of cases where we find that it is extremely impossible even to determine which title is original and which other seems to be appropriate. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, my major reason for supporting this amendment is that when we look at the way that tribunals or disputes or conflicts are addressed, we find, Honorable Speaker, that we had before an opportunity where we had a tribunal that would address issues. But, Honorable Speaker, we find that the tribunal was really removed and replaced by the Magistrates Court that was given jurisdiction. And we find, Honorable Speaker, that in a number of cases, those who are on the ground or at the community find it difficult to engage, and yet it is those who are the community who had facts because they were able to engage the ordinary citizen, and the ordinary citizen was able, when they felt aggrieved, such as the case where public land could perhaps be being used by someone inappropriately, they could approach and they would make their case. We find, Honorable Speaker, that when the Magistrate Court was given the jurisdiction to handle those disputes, Honorable Speaker, we now find many cases where the disputes are not resolved because the court system not only sometimes becomes extremely intimidating, but in a number of cases, Honorable Speaker, we find that the very people themselves who could have been able to address this are not able to. Honorable Speaker, in addition, we do know that even when we look at issues of land, they tend to be extremely adversarial, and at the end of the day, proof of ownership or even protecting the land in the interest of the people becomes extremely difficult. And so, Honorable Speaker, I support this amendment because it is clear that in Kenya we have a lot of challenges with the way that not only do we handle disputes relating to land, but specifically with allocation and with the implementation and protection of policies that would want to ensure that land that is allocated for public utility is not in any way used in ways that are inappropriate. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I support and thank you.
Thank you.